Last shot of the first quarter, it's in! Buddy Hield!
After being at risk of losing another 3-1 series lead, the Warriors close out the Rockets in a tough Game 7 to move on to the second round. Most people will rightfully remember Game 7 as the Buddy Hield game, but the real surprise wasn't necessarily what Buddy Hield did in Game 7. Instead, it was Steve Kerr's decision to trust him in pivotal moments throughout the series, a gamble that ultimately saved the Warriors' season. For most of the season, Buddy Hield had been the punching bag for a lot of the Warriors' problems. Teammates yelled at him for his mistakes, and due to his poor play, he was eventually demoted to the bench for the stretch run. However, going into this series, the Warriors knew that the Rockets were going to sell out to Steph Curry at all costs. This was very apparent in Game 3 when Jimmy Butler was out and the Warriors had a lot of trouble getting any open looks. As a result, Steph Curry needed another guy that could knock down shots when he got doubled. So in a bold move, Steve Kerr played Buddy Hield for 30 minutes and he delivered by hitting 5 3-pointers to complement Steph, which gave the Warriors a 2-1 series lead. For the next 3 games, Ime Udoka came with a big curveball by playing Şengün and Adams together for extended minutes and throwing in a funky zone that confused the Warriors' offense. To keep it short, they ran a rotating box and one where each defender shadows Curry when he enters their zone, then hands him off to the next as he moves. What the zone is designed to do is to keep the two big Şengün and Adams on the back line so the Warriors can't run pick and rolls to drag them out. Simultaneously, Curry had a much harder time scoring because each guy is just passing him off to the next, which makes it a lot easier to keep a body on him at all times. All of this came to a boiling point in Game 6 when the Rockets zone held the Warriors to 5 points in the fourth quarter. In particular, the Rockets had loaded up to Curry because they didn't have enough shooting on the floor. So as Curry sensed that, he started to force up really bad shots and only scored 3 points on 1 for 7 shooting against the zone. So with their season on the line, Steve Kerr wanted Buddy Hield in their small ball lineup to give the Warriors offense more life. The game really started at the 3-minute mark of the first quarter. On the Rockets' first possession using zone, they got a steal, and the Terror Twins worked together for a fast break layup. Steve Kerr immediately called timeout to get Buddy Hield in to beat this zone. The Warriors first try running pick and roll, so Hield runs the baseline, Jalen Green doesn't know it's zone, and Hield makes him pay. Hield's off-ball movement made a really big difference early. As most Rockets were focusing on Jimmy Butler and Steph, a little bit of movement made it much harder to recover to him. This one's more subtle. Hield runs around Curry to get Amen Thompson off of him. They promptly then go to that pick and roll, and Kevon Looney gets a layup. But the main adjustment they made was to have Draymond Green handle the ball and have Steph Curry drag the Rockets bigs out. In our last video, we talked about how the Rockets zone was designed for the bigs to hang out in the paint unless Steph walked into their zone. Then they would follow him, but they only had to chase him for a few seconds. This time though, because Butler and Post are both on the wings being covered, Steven Adams then has to step up to Draymond. At the same time, Curry runs through Şengün's zone to keep him occupied, and that frees Jimmy Butler for a layup. On this one, Draymond has the ball, and Podziemski's in the middle, which occupies both Thompson and Van Vliet. Curry then moves in Adams and Şengün's zone to keep them occupied. Podziemski cuts down low, so Brooks has to stay there, and Hield's now wide open on the wing. On the next possession, Curry pushes it, Green is up top, and Van Vliet is in the right spot, but that's still a tough recover to the wing. With the Warriors up 11, we see that same alignment again. Hield's on the wing, Curry moves in Şengün's zone, and Butler then floats to the corner to drag Steven Adams out. He then drives past him, and he finds Hield on the wing again for 3. At that point, Buddy Hield had 22 points, and the Rockets didn't have an answer. With this alignment, the Warriors built the lead up to 12, and Udoka never really went back to that zone again. Now, no one really expected Hield to go crazy in this game, but what really shocked me the most was not only his defense, but Steve Kerr's willingness to have him guard Fred VanVleet for a lot of the second half. If you recall, VanVleet had been on a heater for the last 3 games, scoring 27 points on 6 threes a game, and was by far the Rockets' most consistent offense. Even then, Hield was assigned to him a lot in the second half and did a fantastic job. He'd given him the Jaylen Brown treatment, forcing him to use his left hand. VanVleet couldn't shake him, and he eventually gets to his right, but Hield still contests that well. In the fourth, the Rockets wanted Hield to switch onto Şengün and then attack him in the post. Hield holds his ground, and Şengün leaves that short. And then, with the final 3 minutes, Hield again forces VanVleet left, Draymond's up, and Hield anticipates a pass for a deflection. At that point, VanVleet knew the Warriors were in control and pushed Jimmy Butler to prevent 2 more points from Buddy. It didn't matter though. With over 2 minutes to go, Curry comes down the floor and finds Hield for 3 to ice the game, and the Warriors continue to haunt Houston fans in the playoffs. In a back and forth 7 games, Steve Kerr's trust in Buddy Hield in these big moments ended up being the reason the Warriors won this series. Yes, it hasn't been a smooth sailing for Hield in his stint in Golden State, but Kerr and the team understands that he is a crucial component to making their offense work. As teams continue to prioritize Steph at all costs, it will be the others that need to step up for the Warriors to continue winning, and out of all people, it was Buddy Hield who came through when they needed it most. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, please like and subscribe. Appreciate your guys' support, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.